now. Obviously, this is cool and kind of weird, funny as well. Just getting a kick out. If y'all can see the setup, man, it's ridiculous. I got a box on top of my son's high chair pointing at the screen so we can get the best look possible, man. But really appreciate you guys just following up with me on Twitter yesterday and the guys that have reached out wanting to be a part of this. The question you guys posed, I want to try to answer as many of those as possible. Want to try to keep it within about an hour as well, not overdo it, but hopefully how I tell people how I kind of approach these things whenever I'm on the other side of the camera or out in the audience or whatever it is. I just want to always try to get one thing if possible. If hopefully I get a lot of things from whoever I'm watching speak, but if I can just get one, that's really, I can leave. There's been a ton of times where I've gone and watched different speakers and got one thing that have really changed my perspective as a coach and helped me be a better coach. So that's my hope for this opportunity we have right now is to accomplish that. Next Friday, I'm actually doing an online Glazier clinic. I don't have the time yet, but it's gonna be next Friday, and I'm gonna do two topics. I'm gonna talk wide zone, outside zone, and then I'm also gonna talk pass pro. And so I'll if I have time today, I'll hit on a little bit of that. But if you're really wanting to dive deeper into those two different aspects of coaching running backs, then that'll be the time for us to really get into it. Or you can just follow up with me, and if I have time, we can sit down and talk some ball and just talk over our reads and stuff like that. But the first thing that I don't usually get to speak to most coaches that I work with about is philosophy. Just different things. I think it's valuable for us to hear different perspectives on philosophy. And so that's the first thing I want to talk about. Some great questions that were asked. The first thing, kind of from a college coach perspective, you see on the screen right here, I made an acronym for RBs. RBs to me, the R at our level, recruiting. I want to try to find game-changing talent, and then I want to find program-changing character. Those are two things that you can't coach. Our job is to get the most out of our players, but when they have those two things covered, that obviously helps. It makes our lives a lot easier. And so the R stands for recruiting. The B is ball security. That's something they're going to hear if they come in to play for me as a freshman, and then they walk on, or sorry, they let's say they redshirted and they're there for 5 years. Every day for 5 years, they're going to hear ball security be a major emphasis. It's on the wall. It's they hear it 15, 20 times at practice. They hear it in the meetings. That's something that I'm going to always preach, because I tell my guys, if you protect the football, you'll at least give yourself a chance to have success in the game, right? So we're playing the number one team in the country. We have no chance of beating that number one team if we put the ball on the ground. Okay, they may just be better than us and they may beat us, but at least we give ourselves a chance. On the flip side, if we play the worst team in college football and we go putting the ball on the ground left and right, now we close the gap and give those guys an opportunity to beat us when we really are, talent-wise, the better team. And so ball security is my number two emphasis that I'm really ingraining my guys day one. And then standards. Standards is something I'm high on. I call it, with my running backs, I call it the standard. The standard is doing more than what you're expected of. And so I personally recruited a running back because I looked on their film and said, man, I just can't wait to get this guy here. He's a great pass protector. I don't know if I've ever even seen a running back put pass pro on their highlight film. And so people don't expect much out of us in that realm, but I want us to take pride in that most running back groups may not take pride in it, but we're going to take pride in it. Finishing every play, whether we have the ball in our hands or not, I want us to take pride in the details. And so I'm very detail oriented. I'll show you here with some of the techniques and some of the things that I use on a day-to-day basis to emphasize and double down on the culture of having a high standard as a player. And so I'll show that. But those are my three things: recruiting, ball security, and standards are the three things to me that I hang my hat on a daily basis as a coach. I recruit as hard as I can so I can get the guys that I hopefully don't have to coach as much. Even if they're a great player, they got to protect the football, or they're just a wasted talent. I can't play them. They're costing our team a chance for success. And standards is no matter how talented you are, you have to have pride in your personal performance and what you put on that tape every day. So those are my three main things. Do we have any questions on that, Justin?
No, sir. Actually, I closed it off for now, just for about the first 20 minutes.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. So here, just talking about position meetings. Is it clear on there? Can you see it?
The words are a little blurry.
Okay. Hopefully.
Well, I mean, they're small though, so
okay.
We can see that says position meetings.
Okay. So we'll talk about just position meetings real quick. And I went to school for health and PE, so I do actually have a heart for teaching as well. I mean, you could say health and PE is not a big deal or whatever, but it was a pretty good program, and I actually learned some really good teaching methods that have prepared me as a coach. One of them is the type of learning environment that we create. I was blessed when we were at BYU. Coach Itaki, he really forced us out of our comfort zone in creating engaged learning environments. And engaged learning environments, I can go into the definition of it, all that, but long story short, it's just not the old school way that most of us probably grew up, where the coach is sitting, leaning back in his chair, holding the clicker, and everybody in the room is falling asleep because he's just letting it run, and he may give a coach a point here and there, but everybody in the room, their backs are to the coach. We're all laid back, comfortable in our seats, lights off, and we're all falling asleep and dozing off. So the type of environment I want to really promote is I want them to have fun learning, but also make them comfortable in verbalizing the coaching points that I'm trying to emphasize daily. And so just an example, when we're in a meeting, if I'm coaching Justin, instead of me saying, hey, Justin, right here on inside zone, you need to make sure you make that backside cut. All right, next play. Instead of doing that, I'm gonna say, hey, Justin, talk to me about this. Talk to me about your track right here. What's your track on this play? Well, coach, I'm supposed to be at the butt of the center. Okay, good. What's your read on this play? Well, I'm reading the nose guard. Okay, good. Okay, what do you think you could have done better on that run? Well, honestly, coach, I probably should have pressed the heels a little bit more. That's exactly, we're still getting the same thing accomplished, but now I'm empowering them to learn more, to be open. And then I always tell my guys this: if you can say what your responsibility is with confidence, then when you get out on the field, you're going to be able to play confident. And so you'll see when the freshmen get up there, that when I'm first kind of throwing them through the fire with some of these questions, they're like uncertain. They're like, I'm like, hey, what is your track on this? Butt of the center. And yet he's right, but I never let him get away with that. I say, I don't know. I'm not the one that runs the play. You tell me, what is your track? And he says, yeah, butt of the center, coach. And so not only do I want them to be able to know their assignment, I want them to verbalize it with confidence. And so that's some different techniques. That's one way. Peer coaching is something that I like to utilize. Same scenario, Justin just ran the inside zone. Instead of me asking Justin that same question, I might say, hey, Caleb, coach me up right here. What do you think Justin could have done better at? And it creates an atmosphere of learning, creates an atmosphere of confidence, and then you're verbalizing it with confidence. And when you go on the field, you're thinking of the coaching points in your head, and you're just that much smoother, and that you're learning that much faster. Sometimes I'll just do random selection just for a random question, like, hey, we're getting ready to watch some film or watch an outside zone play. I might pick up the freshman, hey, Sione, what do you have on this? What do you have on outside zone? He sits up in the seat. Coach, he goes through all the coaching points. And so random selection, and to me, I like that technique to force guys to always be attentive in meetings. And so that's another thing that I like to utilize within engaged learning. Role reversal. This is something I don't do a lot, but I think it's really good for your older players that you're kind of searching for ways to keep them engaged in meetings, to keep them open-minded as far as a learner, and continue to find ways to help them learn. I'll say, like last year we had Tyson Williams, senior running back, really good player. And so sometimes I say, hey, Tyson, come grab the clicker, coach us up on this play. And so he goes up there and he's, okay, we got inside zone right here. hey, good job doing this, doing that, doing that. Two things that I love about that, and this is another thing I learned from Coach Satake at BYU, and I love it, is it not only does it force him to get in the shoes of the coach, which is obvious in that situation. It forces him out of his comfort zone. He has to verbalize it even in a more confident way. But it also, as a coach, it teaches me the things that are sticking. And so that's one thing I like about that, using that tool, is he may go up there and say, hey, right there, you did a good job of pressing the heels, good job hugging that vertical seam right there, and then good job getting two hands on the ball in traffic. When he verbalizes those things to me, that I know what sticks. Then also on the other side, he may miss out a couple coaching points that I know he should have said, that I need to rethink. Maybe it doesn't make sense to him, or maybe I need to verbalize it in a different way, a better buzzword, so to speak, so that they're more in tune and engaged when it comes to that coaching point. And so those are my core things that I use. Another good exercise while we're in the spring and things like that is give them whiteboards. Just give them just pair them up, give them 20 seconds to answer a question, draw it up like, hey, everybody draw up a 50 front, and then give them 20 seconds. They're working with their partner, drawing it up, and then at 20 seconds, have them hold the board up, and then you just go through. Hopefully, sometimes you want to give them pretty easy questions just to kind of encourage and empower them in that sense. But sometimes you want to make it a little bit tougher as well, so that you can double down and correct it. It's easy to just walk up on the board and draw up a 50 front. I want to know exactly what they know, and so sometimes I may be wasting my time coaching something that they already know, or I might be neglecting things and taking it for granted, thinking that they know something that they don't. So those are all just great engaged learning examples that I really love, and I believe in as a coach. I've seen guys maximize their ability from these type of coaching points and accelerate the process of learning and growing as a running back. And then the last but not least, this is more so what I brought in from my teaching experience is learning environment. That's something that I don't think a lot of coaches really take time to think into. But I don't like the old school way of the coach. I'm standing behind, holding the clicker, everybody's in front of me I'm looking at the back of their head, and they're just leaning back in their seat. I don't see their eyes. I don't know what's going on in their mind while I'm coaching it up. So can you see this, Justin? Like this diagram here?
I can't see what the words say, but I can see the shapes.
Okay, so the shape. So this here is the screen, right? And then this is just an example of how I had it at BYU. But we had two pairs of desks on each side, and then I was in the back of the room. The same thing. I'm still in the back of the room, but now these guys are all seated in these different sections, and I can see their eyes. And I like when I coach them, I want to see their reaction in their eyes, because I want to know what's sticking. I want to know if they got that. What the heck is Coach talking about? Look in their eyes. I want to be able to see their reaction, and I think it also holds them accountable to be upright and to be focused, because they never know when Coach is going to make eye contact with them, or when he's going to pick on them to answer a question. And the other thing I like about this is I like always having a little bit of space, like right in the middle where everybody can see, where people don't got to stand up and this and that. Because there's a lot of times, as a running back coach, somebody might say, you might be showing them a new footwork or something. I wanted to be able to walk up front and show, hey, we're going to do scissors step on our outside zone now, or different things like that. And so I'm huge into these two things, man. I've seen it help my guys more than it's just little simple things. And it's a little more uncomfortable for us as coaches. It takes some work. It takes some getting out of our comfort zone at times, and especially when you're up against the clock and it's even with the time constraints. But I'm telling you, man, these things make the difference. And guys, not only learning stuff, but like developing a culture in your room of learning, and guys developing in that aspect. So those are my core daily meeting room things. Okay, here, how's this looking? Did it show up?
Yeah, it shows up. Just small writing, that's all.
So I can't take credit for this. I think he's on here My man Caleb Haynes, he's the receivers coach at Stony Brook, but he was a GA for us at Rice when I was there. He actually started doing this with his receivers. He used to sit next to me, and I saw it. Like, man, I like this. I want to start utilizing this, these film study notes to give to our players when they arrive to the meetings. Now, I gave him his credit, but I know I took it to another level. Though I know he ain't on this level now, so I gave him his love. But if he's watching, I'm gonna let him know he ain't on my level anymore. I took it and ran with it. But the film study notes, there's multiple things that I think you get out of this. I'll kind of break it down. So the cultural things I want to have in my room, I'm doubling down with the criteria for their grading. What I didn't like as a player is when you came back from a game and the coach was like, hey, you got an 82% for the game. I'm like, how can you even critique? How can you give me an 82%? Like, there's no criteria for it. Oh, well, you were slow on the backside on this play and this and that. Like, no, to me, I feel like I'm being cheated out of my grade. Like, I want to see the criteria and exactly how it calculated up. And so that's kind of why I got to this. So you'll see on this diagram, we got the play name right here. Then we got the player. Then we got so I grade them on their tracks. The track in the run game is the most important thing than anything. If you're 100% on your track, then you're going to have a chance to have success, especially when the line blocks it correctly. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that, but I grade them on their track on every run and their finish on every single play. And these two things are going back to that acronym, that RB's acronym, the standards. So don't get me wrong, you can have success on a play with not a perfect track, but we want to have success and have a perfect track because we're going to guarantee ourselves a chance for success when we do that. My criteria for finish is if we have the ball in our hands in practice, we didn't fall on the ground or we didn't run right down the middle of a guy and let him thud us up. So we picked a side, kept our feet moving. If we were playing live, that would have meant that we had a chance for yards after contact. So if they fall on the ground in practice at all with the ball in their hand, I give them a minus. If you don't burst after contact, that's a minus on your finish. So those are on the ball things that you can get a plus or a minus for. Without the ball in pass pro, if you don't finish blocking your guy until the ball's thrown, that's a minus. And the counter of that would be if he does finish with his guy, ride him out of the picture, and the ball's thrown, you get a plus on that. If we're running a swing route and the quarterback throws it, throws a curl to the field, we need to be running over there and getting in that and working our way to the ball in the event of a fumble, or we may be that extra block that is needed to get to the end zone. And so, or if we're blocking downfield, last but not least, if we're blocking downfield, we need to finish blocking our guy when that whistle's blown, or at least working to somebody when the whistle's blown. And so that's my criteria for a positive or a negative on the track and the finish. I'll have over here my notes for each play. So like Sam right here, he got a minus on his track, minus on his finish. So hey, too tight on your track, you got to get your eyes on the 4 eye. So I'll have little notes. Sometimes they do it right. Sometimes you don't have to have a note. And it's not always negative. Like right here, Ty, sprint. We ran sprint left. He had a positive on the finish. And I said, hey, good job getting to the line fast. He struggled getting to the line. That was something that I was continue to enforce on a day-to-day basis that he was still working through. He made a breakthrough. He got a plus on it. And I wanted to emphasize the reason why he got that plus and what we've been working on is you did a good job getting to the line fast. And that was what led to your success on that play. Okay, so that's kind of the criteria and the different guys. Everybody's, I'm charting everybody. And down here at the bottom is what I really love. They get the grade. So I tally it all up. You get a grade. Sam got a 10 out of 10 on his track, 100%. His finish, he was 14 out of 17 with an 82%. And then I always over here put a positive and something that they need to work on. Something they basically they did a good job or got better in that day that we've been talking about, or something that they need to work on moving forward. And so this is right in the meeting before we go out to practice. And I like having this tool to kind of trigger their mind. All right, man, coach said I did a good job on my tracks yesterday. Let me keep doing good on my tracks. coach said I need to work on getting my hands inside and pass pro. All right, that's what I'm focusing on. And so I like to have a positive and something they can work on. Right here, I said, great job taking pride in your tracks. If you had a 10 out of 10. Then I said, keep focusing on covering the ball with 2 hands in traffic. Okay, nothing major, nothing earth-shattering, but once again, it's just a daily emphasis of having a high standard for what you put on film, as well as just taking pride in doing the little things that are going to take to have success at the running back. And so those are things that I love. So that's just on the surface. They get to track their progress individually. The thing that I like, and somebody asked this, I think Coach Johns asked me this on Twitter, how he said, I wrote the question down. He says, if you have an RB battle, how do you do your playing time? Since I started doing this like 4 or 5 years ago, I really haven't had to have depth chart meetings and things like that, because they get this criteria daily. They see what's going on daily on this picture. That's why I don't give every single person their own individual grades. I want everybody to see everything. I want Tyson right here to know, man, I only had 83. Sam Stewart had 100%. I need to set my butt up in my tracks, or I can understand why coach won't have confidence in me in the run game. Or, my boy Matt down here, he had 62 on his finish. That means you're either your practice habits aren't great, or you're not quite there yet. And so to me, that this usually takes care of it and alleviates the question marks of who's the guy in the room, who's the most consistent in the room. And some of it is ability based, like, Ty on the surface, he's probably a little bit more talented than some. He is. And so, and his grades aren't too bad. He's an 83 and a 92. I can justify that, like him still being a starter. But if Ty was down here at 52 and then a 35, that's not a good culture I'm setting in the room. And so on the other end, as a coach, you got to keep that in mind as well. But that's just the atmosphere that we create. It's a competitive atmosphere. They're looking at each other's foot. Man, I'll freaking let this dude beat me by 1%. I need to step my game up. And then we're encouraging and still correcting. This just covers a multitude of things that I really believe in as a coach. And once again, it's just a standard of excellence, as well as creating an atmosphere of learning on a daily basis and not getting complacent. That's what each individual coaching points are for right here.
Coach got a question for you here. Coach wants to know, do you grade indie drills as well, or just team drills?
I only grade team drills. I don't even grade Skelly. I only grade team because I don't want to saturate it as well. You know what I mean? I don't want guys having too much information in front of it. And then, we go through 7-on-7. There's not going to be many minuses on 7-on-7. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to get a minus on that. And so it's going to saturate the scores a little bit. But the one thing I do on a day-to-day basis is film indie drills. And we may not even watch them like as a group, but when they push it to their iPads, they see that it's been filmed. They don't know, honestly, that I watch it or not, but I like creating it. Sometimes I might go pull a clip like, hey, dude, you're sitting here wondering why you're not being able to pick this guy up at pass pro. Look at you in the indie drill, and break it down that way. But I film everything, but I never really even watch Skelly or anything unless there's something that pops up. Like in Skelly, if we put in a wheel route this week and we emphasize a lot of Skelly and we didn't run it a lot of team periods, I'll pull some of those clips and watch them as a group just to have a higher sample size. But I only grade those because really I just want to really emphasize the tracks and the finish. And so that's why I try to keep it at a little bit smaller of a sample size.
Okay. And it was also asked if you show them every single clip or just choose a couple
of the team period.
Yes, sir.
I personally like showing everything if I have the time. Sometimes I'll go through it a little bit faster. But hey, good job right here. It buzzed through and just get to the one. Like if we had a unit meeting before and we just were strapped for time, there's times, but I usually try. That's another reason why I don't watch Skelly. most of the time is because of that. And unless there's something that we just kept messing up and Skelly, and I had to pull it up to emphasize it. But I try to keep it at the meat and potatoes of it. I want to show as much real football as a running backs coach. If I was a receivers coach, quarterbacks coach, all that stuff honestly does have value. But for me, in my experience as a running backs coach, I need to stick to what's most valuable for those guys to learn from. And so I do like watching every clip because I think the way I teach my guys, sometimes they learn even more from the other guys' rep than their own rep at times as well. So that's kind of my philosophy.
Sure. And how much are missed assignments weighed into their grades?
So yeah, the MA. So I didn't have any on here, but instead of a minus on finish, I put MA and put it in red too. Luckily, I've been blessed to not have a lot of MAs because of these different techniques that I use with our learning style or engaged learning and meetings, just forcing those guys to really learn their responsibilities. We'll get them every now and then, and I just put big old red right here instead of a minus to let them know, like, hey, the other thing I do is like if the ball security was atrocious, or if let's just say they actually put the ball on the ground, I do that ball security. So it's automatic. They know it's a minus for sure. But if it's a ball security issue, I'm gonna put that in red too, and that's counted as a minus. But I just want to emphasize, like, this is an absolute no-no. This is not. It's okay to make some mistakes. Like it's not the end of the world if you get a minus on your track or anything, as long as you're working for it. But there's some absolute knots that you got to have as a running back, and as ball security and MAs. So that's kind of how I feel about it.
Good, coach.
Any more?
We're good.
Okay. So we talked about just playing time, how I think this sorts out the playing time, the position meeting structure and things like that. Let's see. So here's one little last thing that I'll show you here. Let's see if it works. Let's see. 1 second. I didn't bring my mouse with me, so it's hard to navigate this thing. There we go. It froze. For some reason. Oh, there it is. All right. It froze, but I just had it was an example of some of my daily notes that I use with my guys, and those type of things. Just how I hand it to them in a note fashion. There's nothing really earth shattering, honestly. The other good question that I had, can you hear me right now, Justin?
Yes, sir.
There's another good question that I'll cover real quick before we switch over to some film. Is somebody asked me what am I currently doing during this time where we're working from home and staying in contact with my players. I think it's pretty much the same as everybody else. We're having we do Zoom meetings. We actually had our first Zoom position meeting yesterday, but I've been in constant contact with them. I actually didn't use Zoom for my position meeting. I used all my guys had iPhones, so I just FaceTimed them and then held it up to the screen. And I just watched like a 4 or 5 play cut up of the last practice that we had before we came on spring break, that we still hadn't gotten to watch yet. I didn't want to overdo it. I mean, right now it's a weird time for these kids. In my opinion, they're doing a ton of work from home, which most of them aren't used to. They're used to actually physically going to class. But we're staying on top of those guys, really heavy about the academic part. They're trying to get workouts in, and it's a life-changing experience for those guys. We think of it as from our perspective as coaches, but So we got on FaceTime for about 15, 20 minutes. I just really got to I'm just now getting to Arizona. So I'm still really emphasizing these tracks and the standards that we talk about, our finish and just different ways that we got to get better in the run game. And so those are things that we really honed in. So I just picked about 4 or 5 plays and really got to the nitty gritty on each and every one of them, slowed it down, coached it, every little aspect of it up. And then I felt like it was productive and our guys were engaged. So I didn't want them holding their phone for 45, minutes, hour and things like that. I wanted them to get a good feel for where I was coming from. And then the other thing is like, we don't know how long this thing's gonna go. I think the main thing right now with players in general is let's just keep reminding them that you're a football player. Like it's easy for them. I mean, we got different things. We're recruiting and doing stuff like that. But college athletes, high school athletes, they're just sitting around the house trying to figure out what the heck to do. They're upset because they can't go see their girlfriend and stuff like that. So we just want to remind them more so than anything, like, hey, you're still a football player, and just keep them triggered, keep them in the thought process of learning football. And because at some point we're going to be back doing this thing. And so it's easy for us. We get paid to do this, to stay engaged and to be locked in and ready to roll when this thing is rolling again. I think our job as coaches right now is just to make sure we don't overdo it. We'll just overkill when they got all these things going on, but still keep it triggered and engaged as well. So that's kind of my personal philosophy on that, to answer that question. Okay. Were there any other that came up while I was talking?
Yes, sir. As a younger coach and also a new coach, how would you like integrate yourself into the staff and establish yourself in the position room?
So integrating into the staff, I would say just like from my perspective, I'm the running backs coach, so I'm more so just there to soak everything in. I don't want to come across as, here's the guy that think, he invented football. I really want to develop genuine relationships with my coworkers and, take time to get to know them. Like, hey, you got kids, what's your family like, and where you from. I think that part is invaluable, to have in that first little window of time that you're there, and just showing guys that who you really are as a person, and just the things that are deeper than football. I think that's important because the football, I mean, you're around each other all the time, and we're at work and doing football. So the football part's going to come, but I think the genuine get to know you part is very important when you do have that time. And I think with the players, it's the same way. I met with each and every one of them within the first couple of days. Because I got the job on I want to say Friday, got their numbers. I think Saturday and Sunday, I FaceTimed them as many as I could. I talked to them on the phone, just introduced myself, and I thought that was really good. Just setting the tone that, hey, this guy didn't just come here to coach football, but he had genuine interest in the person. And so even now during this time, we've had our group FaceTime, but I've also had my individual FaceTime. Because really, I've been here for a month. I'm still really getting to know these guys. And then one thing that I started doing last year at BYU that I thought it took some time out of our meetings. It took 5 minutes, sometimes even 10 minutes, but something that really I thought brought my players closer together, and as well as tighten our relationship that we had as well, is to start every meeting. I call it 2x2, and I would just randomly pick a guy in the room for each and every one of us collectively to ask 2 questions. So not every single person asks 2 questions to that person, but as a group, we ask that person 2 questions. So it could be anything. It could be, hey, what's your favorite ice cream? It could be, hey, who's your mentor? Like, do you have a girlfriend? It could be that. And so we'll ask one person 2 questions, and then we'll ask another person 2 questions, and then at the end of that, I'll always give them a chance to ask me 2 questions. And sometimes it's serious. Like, hey, coach, when did you know your wife was the one? Or hey, coach, what's your favorite food to eat? Or hey, what do you like to do outside of work? And just sometimes we laughed and it was fun, but sometimes it was serious, and it was just a good opportunity for those guys to see just another side of me as a coach, to learn me a little bit more, and to me to learn some new things about them. and things like that. And I just really thought it helped the culture of our room. I thought the guys played harder for one another, and I guess for me, because they knew me a little bit more and things like that. So I've done that to start here at Arizona. I think that's been really good. They get a kick out of it, actually. I think we've done it twice, maybe two or three times since I've been here. And the guys here like it too. So it's probably something I'll roll with for the rest of my career. And I don't think they don't mind, because that's kind of, they expect us to just come in and just get straight to, all right, here's the film. Like when they first just sit down in their seats. I think it's a breath of fresh air for them to, like, for you to sit back for 5 minutes and just get down to the core foundation and build a relationship more so with the guys. And sometimes just you need to laugh and have a couple jokes before you get rolling and kind of set the tone for the energy in your meeting every day. So those are some other things that have helped me. Anything else?
Well, just since you were talking about the players being home, do you have a specific drill that you feel comfortable with them doing on their own at home?
Comfortable doing on their own?
Yeah, at home.
I mean, it'll be hard to do most of our things. I'll pull it up here, you'll see why, but I'm good with them just doing anything that they know is going to help them as a running back, as far as whether it be footwork, any of that. I always mess with my guys about, like, when they're in the off season, because they'll ask me, like, hey coach, what should I do? I'm like, hey, you need to be working. Don't be doing all that footwork drills. Let's do some freaking pass pro. Go get some hand shields and, like, go work pass pro. Like, and they laugh about it, because I mean, we see all the internet videos and dudes like jumping through hula hoops and freaking jumping around cones and all that. And so I just like challenge them, like, hey, why don't you put a video out of you working some freaking pass pro drills over the week, over the weekend or something. Like, I was like, you'll go viral if you do that. So they kind of laugh about that, but I think I'm just fine with them doing anything right now. Like, to me, it's just more so just not laying around, sitting on the couch all day. I mean, it's going to be hard for them to just go to a park and simulate some of the things that they would do with my type of drill work that I do. But they just kind of understand, like, as long as they're doing something and using the technique as far as their feet and all of that, if they are working through their run game tracks or something like that on their own, then I'm fine with it. I'm a fan of them just doing something and not sitting around just on the phone with their girl all day and on FaceTime. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my philosophy on it.
Good.
Is that it?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. I'm gonna pull up real quick. Let's talk. How much time do I have?
You're good, coach. Do your thing.
All right. Let's go. Let's go tight zone real quick, and then we get some time at the end. I can cover a couple. I got like 2 or 3 ball security drills that I think are, not everybody does, but I think are really good drills. But we'll start off right here with tight zone. Some people call it inside zone. I was just talking to, who was I talking to? I talked to a handful of running back coaches this week, but he was asking me, hey coach, what do you do on the inside zone? And he was telling me how he ran it with his aiming point with the butt of the center. And that's how I've run it the last 2 years. And yeah, it's technically inside zone, but I like to use the term tight zone because I think it creates a mindset of downhill, a little bit more downhill. And it's, to me, that's just a better way to verbalize what we're trying to get out of it. Now, if you're going across the mesh, like if I'm lined up on the left and I'm going to the right foot of the play side foot of the center, or inside leg of the guard, which I've done, I'm okay with calling that inside zone. But if you're truly trying to get downhill, I like referring to that as tight zone, not inside zone. Not to say that it's wrong or the way I say it is right, but I think that's really important. Right here, so I'm gonna show us like some drill work. The guys that have seen me coach Glazier, been at Glazier Clinic, you can log off right now if you want. I've shown this probably 50 times, I feel like, in the last year. But I believe in it, I trust it as a coach, and I've seen it have success with the drill work as well as the coaching points. And so This is what I'm going to talk right here. So somebody asked, another question was, how do you maximize your time in your individual drills? And I just started doing this a couple of years ago, is because it seems like every year I get less and less individual time as I've gone in my career. So I used to feel like I had like 30 minutes when I first started back in 2013 or 2012. And now it's like I only feel like I only get like 7 minutes to get a lot of stuff done. And so I try to be as much all inclusive with my drill work as possible. I want to work multiple things. I never want to just like I'm working like this drill. You'll see we're actually working footwork, but there's so many different components attached to that drill. There's we're working on our track, staying on our track in the run game. We're working on staying vertical when we do make a cut, and we're working on pressing the heels. We're basically getting a live simulation of running a tight zone play. The other way that this drill is beneficial, this drill structure is beneficial to me is my 4-string guy during the season, he's not going to get very many reps against the scout team when we go team period. And so to me, I like using these simulations because I feel like I'm still in a rep for that guy on his track, on his, the different intricacies of running tight zone. And so that's why I believe in this. So this we got wind back to vertical. I call it wind back instead of cut back because I want them to feel like they got pressed. It's just another terminology thing. When they think cut back, to me, when I hear cut back, I think I'm going to take the ball and I'm going to be 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage and just cut and go back. Now that linebacker is thrown over the top, and he just made the tackle. And so I'm big on a stickler on using terms that it's saying the same thing, but it's creating a mindset with the running backs of attention to detail. And so I say wind back instead of cut back. So we're focusing on pressing the heels to the vertical seam. We're working on track. It promotes finding the vertical seam, which I'll talk about, and then emphasizes the importance of getting back vertical after you make a jump. That's the number one thing you'll see on this film that I'll give you some examples of guys that I coach. When they first get to me from high school, these guys, they've been used to playing where they just take the ball, make their first read, and just bounce it and outrun everybody on the defense, which I wish you could do that at our level, but I haven't played very many teams, Division I teams, or had a guy that could just take the ball and just go and circle the field on any given opponent. And so I'm huge on being vertical in the run game, no matter what the run game is. Any aspect, any run game scheme that we have in our offense, the main objective is to get vertical. So this, you'll see here how it emphasizes that. I'll get it going. So here's the drill. Can you see it, Justin?
Yes, sir. You're good.
Okay. So right here is these are the linemen right here. These agiles, they represent the linemen. So here the middle bag is the center, then we got the guard, the tackle, then the guard, the tackle. I'm simulating those blocks occurring. So I do different things with this. It's not necessarily that's the exact way that the line's going to look. I want them to have awareness with their feet at all times. And so I'll mess around with the structure of this drill and force them to really understand I'm making my read, but I still have to have my eyes up and be able to navigate through traffic with my feet as I'm working on trying to find a vertical situation for myself. And so once again, going back to my previous statement, earlier in my career, 2012 through probably 14, I would just do the old school L drill with my running backs to work on footwork. And so, yeah, that's focusing on having spatial awareness with your feet and sorting things out with the eyes up. But that's just you're working one technique in that drill. And so that's to answer the previous question, if they wanted to go out right now on their own and do L drill, 100%, I would love for them to do that because they are working on footwork. When they're with me, I don't have time with my 7 minutes to only work on footwork. So I want to add different components. So we're working on our footwork right here, getting to the mesh. We're working on pressing the heels vertically on our track, and then also sorting it out with our feet. And so you'll see here, he's pressing it. I'm emphasizing all those things we talk about on a day-to-day basis. Get square at the mesh, press the heels, jump cut, and then find it. And what I want them to do, I want them to jump cut to find the vertical seam. I don't want us to jump to bounce. I want us to jump to be vertical. And so when I say that, I mean, we should still have our shoulders square on our jump cut, And that's why I use the term wind back. It's a wind back, meaning that our shoulders are square and we're just winding behind traffic to get back vertical instead of actually jumping and then going bouncing it out this way, right here. Okay. So you'll see it'll keep going back and forth between the drill and the film. Okay. So let's talk about how we're going to read it. We were a little bit wider at BYU as far as our landmark with the near leg of the center. On tight zone, we're reading the nose in an odd front. He'll tell us where to go right here. This is kind of a gray area read. I hope Coach Mateo from BYU is not on this getting mad at me for saying it's a gray area read. But it's a tough, they got a weird looking front right here. Okay, so the biggest thing, the one thing I think he could have done is I always tell my running backs, if nothing takes you off your track, let's stay vertical. He should know that he's gonna make this cut, but I want him to try to sell it one more step to make this linebacker feel like he has to hold to stay front side of the play. And so that's one thing he could have done better. You see, he's kind of predetermined in his cut a little bit, not egregious, but if I'm coaching him up off film, that's something I'm emphasizing with him because he's already a little bit further down the line with his understanding of the game of football. He can take that little detail to press in one more before he makes the cut. Okay. Now the other thing I always say, I want you to read. In the eye front, you're gonna read the nose guard to the first vertical seam. And what I mean by that, a vertical seam is a clean block where we see a guy's butt or his hip. And so right here, I wouldn't consider this a vertical seam because this guy's about to detach himself from that gap. This right here would be a vertical seam because we see the butt, he's got that block sustained, and we want to hug that thing as tight as we can so that we can avoid this guy coming off his block and making a tackle. There's sometimes that there's not going to be as much space. We got to hug this thing so we can create. I always use the term, let's create it on tackle because we hug this block as tight as we can. And then also by hugging this, we keep ourselves away from this backside traffic. Okay. So right here, what you'll see, okay, he doesn't do a great job of that. Now, all the guys that coach receivers, I know you use that term. Like I know some receivers coaches that say they tell our guys on a curl route to run at 14, knowing that they're going to get to 12. But they don't say 12 because then they're going to freaking be breaking it down at 9 or 10. And so as a running backs coach, in a perfect world, I'd love for that guy to be right here on this hip. We wouldn't even get an arm tackle right here. We'd keep ourselves away from his backer. But he understands it enough to be close to that. We still get a semi-arm tackle. We really do get an arm tackle. He may not even have been able to slow our progress down. But I'm saying that to say that some of these coaching points, you want to strive for perfection, but settle for excellence. And so I think he's doing a good job. He put himself in a good situation to be able to have yards out of contact, and then he does a good job finishing the run and getting extra yards out of contact. That's something else we'll work on as well. Okay. Here's another angle at it. Okay, just once again emphasizing our track is on the near leg of the center. Okay, we want to press that thing to the heels while we're making a read, and then we want to hug that vertical seam as tight as possible. And so that's why I use this bag right here to understand there's a guy flashing. I want to hug the first vertical seam as hard as tight as I can so that I can create space between me and the defender. The other reason I like to use these agiles right here is going back to coaching freshmen. They're used to in a high school game seeing so much space whenever they do make their decision. At this level, man, this right here is a huge cavern for a running back at this level. Sometimes it's going to be even tighter than that, and they got to be satisfied with taking a vertical opportunity when it presents itself. And I always tell them sometimes you just got to get the ugly 3 or the ugly 4. So I don't want them searching for answers, looking for huge gashes in the defense when they're not going to provide, they're not going to present themselves all the time. And so I like to use these agiles as well to have them create that sense of, hey, that's enough for me to get towards the end zone or get vertical. And so that's the other reason why I like to use those agiles to emphasize that coaching. Just a little backstory on number 5 right here. He came from South Carolina, grad transfer for me. Special, really talented running back. And when he first got to me, he did some things naturally. I was like, man, I'm not gonna mess this dude up. I just got to let him play. I'm not going to overcoach him. But he bounced stuff a lot of times when he could have just stayed vertical and made his life a lot easier, where he didn't have to barrel over the safety to make a ugly 4 yards after contact. And he was just missing vertical opportunities because he was trying to just circle the defense almost, just like a high school kid. And so this run right here, this is the first. We had him for camp for whatever, however long you get, 15 practices in camp, and this is the first game of the season last year. But I put this on there. It's not the prettiest clip, but it doubled down in my mind on the coaching points. Even though he's a great player, these coaching points work. And what I mean by that, okay, he found the first vertical opportunity, and right here, he wants to just bounce it and go. I know it, and just knowing this kid, if it were 3 weeks ago, he would have just taken it and gone out here and got tackled by the safety net to show up. What he did right here is once he found a vertical seam, once again, the vertical seam right here is tight end. Okay, it was muddy. Now this is the vertical opportunity. Once he saw that, he knew this was the quickest way to get to where I need to get to. And he puts that foot in the ground right there. Okay, and he makes that linebacker miss. And then he ends up right here. This is why I said I didn't want to overcoach him, because you watch this dude does some special stuff. That's like 3 NFL guys that he just made look silly on that play. But the coaching point, the reason why I keep this on here, and it's not the prettiest, is it doubles down on all the reasons why I love that drill, and I think it works, is because, okay, we made our read. Okay, they're in, right here, they're in even front, so we're going to read this 3 technique right here. Okay, he crosses our face, so we want to stay vertical. Now we're looking at this gap. Okay, not it's closing up. This guy's hat showing, so now where's the first vertical seam? There it is. Probably could have been even a little tighter off of it, but he knows, and coach is going to get me if I just take this ball and go run straight to that safety right now. He does it, and he ends up having success right there. And so that's kind of more of a testimonial clip as a coach that I love to show when it comes to tight zone. I'll go through one more right here. Okay, just one more angle. Okay, as you see, they're getting a live rep of what they're going to have in the game. And then once again, they got to get comfortable with hugging blocks, having good spatial awareness, trusting that this is enough space for me to have success on any given run through. And so that's why I like to use that, and it's just doubling down. This is a weird clip to show this. You got to be a real running backs coach to appreciate this clip right here. This is the prettiest 4-yard gain I've ever seen in my whole life. I want you to see this right here. I'm gonna let it play and then I'll go back. But look at this. That's a beautiful. This is like top 5 runs in my whole coaching career that I've seen from a guy. And I say it from a nerdy running back coach perspective, but let's just really break it down right here. Okay, so they're in the eye front. We're reading the nose guard. Okay, he goes away. Now, so you see the difference between what he did on this clip and then what number 5 did on that first clip, where I said he kind of predetermined. He didn't press it. He didn't fully sell it and give himself a chance to maximize an arm tackle. This guy is going to do everything by the book. He's almost robotic at times, but he's going to do any coaching point you give him, he's going to do it by the book. And he does a great job right here being vertical. That one more step vertically with his shoulders kept that guy front side and allowed that block to come off. And then the vertical, he read the nose guard to the first vertical seam. You see that butt right there on the center. He does a great job. I mean, that's literally as great as you can get right there as far as hugging the seam. And the reason why we do that, we want to create an arm tackle, put pressure on this guy that's showing up in the picture. He does a great job right there. And then these are the secondary coaching points: getting skinny on contact, eyes up, running our feet through. Those are different things, different secondary coaching points. But that's just from a fundamental standpoint, man, versus a great defense. These guys are like 4th in the country in run defense. I mean, every yard mattered against these dudes for us to have a chance in the run game. And he just did a great job, man. I love this clip. I mean, that's as good of a 4-yard run as you're gonna see. Most guys that I've seen in my coaching career watching film on other people, or just watching even my guys when they're younger, he'll just take this ball and just try to throw it up in here, and he gets tackled for 1 yard, or he bends this thing, he cuts it back, like I said, instead of winding back. And now this guy just freaking lifts us up, dunks us down for no gain, 1 yard gain maybe if we're lucky. But this guy does everything by the book. He's skinny. That's a beautiful play right there. Okay. And then here, we'll go one more right here. Once again, so here is just once we've kind of mastered just pressing heels, getting back vertical, then I like to add this element where I just move this bag real quick, just really focus and making them focus on keeping their feet in a position at all times to have success. I always tell running backs, you got to be able to react to chaos in football. If you don't have great pad level and your feet are in a successful position or inside of a box in an athletic position, then you're not going to be able to react to the chaos and the things that happen off script in the game of football. And so that's why I'm using that bag right there, just switching it up. We've already done good with me just moving this and I'm hugging that thing vertical. But then the other part is it also emphasizes, okay, we need to get to the C gap, but then once we get to the C gap, let's be right back vertical. And so instead of, it's a little thing, but it's a big thing. We're not drifting all the way out here out the picture. We should be avoiding and then getting right back vertical. So that's what we're working on that, the muscle memory of that on that play. And you'll see here where it shows up. Okay, so we're reading this 3 technique right here to our side. Okay, does a great job hugging it, pressing it tight. Okay, guys are falling off blocks. Once again, I hope my man Mateos from BYU not watching. I'm not trying to hate on you. I'm just trying to coach this play up. And he does a good job. And I want you to see this is the benefit of staying vertical and pressing, staying on your track until something takes you off and pressing his heels. Look at the bind that it puts on this edge C-gap defender right here. Okay, he's reading the quarterback. And now he has no chance of making that tackle right now because we stayed on our track, pressed the heels, and then we kept our shoulders square and gave ourselves a chance post-match to be able to make this cut and get him. He does a great job. And then the coaching point, once you get there, get right back vertical. You see that. And we have a successful play right there against a really good defense. Okay? We have any questions on tight zone? I know it wasn't a lot of clips. I have more clips, but I don't want to bore y'all with a ton of tight zone clips.
Yeah, a coach asked if you prefer running tight zone to a shade or a 3.
To me, it doesn't really matter as long. I mean, if they can block it. I've been lucky. Like when I was at BYU, when we ran this a lot, our line was really good. You know, we knocked guys off the ball, and so we had success. But I don't really like it against the eye front as much because at times that center, just like you saw in that first clip against Tennessee, where it was kind of a gray area read, if you don't have a center that go get it, and even really good center, it's hard to really like go mano-a-mano with that guy and give a clear picture for the running back to make his read and accordingly. And so that's one thing I'll say, like against an eye front, sometimes there can be some things that come up if you're going against, if they're just better than you up front. I think that it puts you in a little bit of a bind right there on that, especially if you're not doing things to maybe read with the quarterback and just at least slow the defense down a little bit in their thought process. But even front, as long as we take care of it, I don't really I've never really worried about that from a running back coach perspective. I like it against an even front, whether it's a 3 or a shade, because I think the running backs can sort it out as long as we get vertical movement.
Good, coach.
That's it for tight zone?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. I'll finish off with just some ball security, or just kind of some miscellaneous drills that I like. Once again, I'll talk if you guys come next Friday, my online Glacier clinic. I'm gonna talk more wide zone, and I'm gonna talk pass pro. So we'll get to that. I want to talk a couple things about. It'll have some film here too, so it'll be like double duty. But real quick, just some people asked me about ball security as well, so I wanted to make sure I covered that. Pull it up real quick. Okay, I talked about this a little bit at the where was that? At the AFCA convention for the guys that came, talk ball security. The thing, I mean, we all coach high and tight and all that. The one, as far as having the ball in one hand thing that I coach that may be a little bit different as far as the way I turn it, I tell my guys to not only have the ball high and tight, but tuck the elbow. Because what guys are really good at now on defense is the deal where they come through and punch at the ball. And when the ball can be high and tight, but there's so much more, there's room for error right here if they punch in the right area. Now, I'll say this, it's hard to get the ball from behind when they punch up at it. So the high and tight that works. But I think you have success in either situation if you tuck the elbow. Because now when they punch down on the ball, they're punching back into your framework, as well as they can't see the ball, but now they can't even see the ball from behind and try to punch it out from behind either. So I think that's the best of both worlds. Something that I don't hear every coach coaching. Not even saying that it's the right thing, honestly, as a coach, to that I coach it that way, but it's something that has allowed me to have success in my room when I put the ball on the ground. And it gives me criteria to coach it and re-emphasize it on a day-to-day basis. What I tell my guys when we watch film or if we're standing behind in practice, if I can see the football from when I'm standing from behind you, if we're watching a butt copy of film, then you can have better ball security. Meaning that that elbow is not tucked as tight, you're not keeping everything in your framework as tight as you can if your elbow is out and I can see the football from behind. So that's this basic way for me to evaluate the success or failure of any given ball security without it actually going on the ground, and try to prevent those things. As far as covering the ball in traffic, I call this a drill I call Zeke drill. I got it from Ezekiel Elliott. Notice like even when he was at Ohio State, anytime he got in traffic, he got skinny. Not only tucking the elbow, but he covers the ball. Right now in Arizona, I got my man Coach Mazzoni. We kind of collab. I always call it grab the wrist, but Coach Mazzoni said, "Hey, let's call it grabbing the watch," and I like that a lot. So I had to put my pride aside because his idea was better than mine, and I just said, "Hey, let's grab the watch." That's something that we're bringing to the forefront with our skill players in Arizona. Grab the watch, and so meaning grab that wrist area, get skinny. The reason why I like calling the Z drill, not only does he doesn't really put the ball on the ground, he always gets yards after contact. If you see, he's always top 5 in the NFL yards after contact, and because he's always skinny, his eyes are always up on contact, and he's falling forward every single time. The old school way of covering the ball with 2 hands, it promotes putting your eyes down. Once your eyes go down, first it's a safety issue. You get the helmet to helmet. And also once you can't see what's going to hit you, there's no way you're going to be able to navigate that and fall forward to get extra yards. And so not only is it a ball security thing, to me, it's just a mentality of fighting for every single yard that we can possibly get. And it's promoting those little things. So the main focus of this drill is 2 hands in traffic and yards after contact. It promotes keeping eyes up on contact, forces you to have good power level, and it reinforces getting skinny at the point of contact, getting skinny. Okay, once again, old school way, covering it with 2, that's a wide framework. I cover that thing, grab the watch right here. I'm a lot skinnier, so I'm a lot more aerodynamic in tight spaces. I got a chance to maybe squeeze through there and have success. And so you'll see here, this is my man, Harv. He's the BYU running backs coach now. He worked with me the last 2 years. So this is us. We're just holding the hand shields. And I'm a big proponent in the drill work. I don't want to just kill you with my drill work. Like right here, this is like a 5-yard drill, but it's just emphasizing the thing that I'm trying to get accomplished right here. We use it where you got the ball coverings right here, the satin ball coverings, to just really force them to have to grip that thing tight in order for them to have success in ball security. And then we're just working. Once they get right there in an inevitable situation, 2 yards away from contact, that's when we want to start grabbing that watch and getting skinny and keeping our eyes up on contact. So that's what we're working right there. Okay, just the little detail of getting to contact and then bursting through it right there. So you'll see just in line right there, not a lot of running, but it's giving them a pretty good simulation of how it's going to feel when they get in traffic. And then I like holding the bag too, because I can really see from a defensive perspective where their eyes are. I can feel how aerodynamic they are through the bag, and I'll use that as a way to reinforce the coaching points. Hey, let's go get your eyes up, or hey, I didn't feel you burst through contact on that play, on that rep or whatever. And so I think it's a good way to just to drill that little and get the most muscle memory of getting prepared to have success when you get in those inevitable situations. here's a good rep. We're just running a tight zone out of pistol right here. Okay, so all those reads and things that we talked about on the other film. So I'll kind of coach those parts up too. But just another example of doing a great job of hugging that vertical seam right there. Now he creates space between him and the defenders. Also, what it does, I've seen guys make this run right where this pole is, and that makes that guy can maybe square us up now and make a little better form tackle. By us hugging that, we're forcing this guy to come across the bow and make a tackle, okay? And now we're able to have success. His eyes are up right there on contact, okay? He's skinny. He's covering it with two, protecting the rock, aerodynamic. And so we're getting both accomplished. We're protecting the football, and now he's got 7 yards of contact. I'll live with that run any day. Okay, here's another one. Running some tight zone right here. Okay, he does a good job. Those little things we talk about. Okay, but right here, he does a great job of hugging that thing, getting two hands on it right on contact. His eyes are up, and that's why it's a little thing, but a big thing. He just gave us an extra 2-3 yards. So now I just went from a second and 7 to a second and 4, second and 3, and that's a big deal, man. And so I want us to get every yard that they're going to allow us to get on a given run. We saw this clip when I was on the tight zone stuff, and then let's see this clip right here. I'll show you just from this. We'll show it from this angle right here. Okay, just so you can see. Once again, as a running back, I think this is a short yardage situation. Sometimes this is going to be all you got to work with. I mean, look, this is not a viable gap. You got a guy hanging out about to be fully detached from his block. So this is the only thing we got to work with right here. He has to overcome. These guys are almost like connected with their feet. He does a good job of not hopping through there, getting his foot up and down so he can burst through the contact. Would like his pad level to be a little bit better, but right there, he's protecting the ball, covering it with two, and he just moved that pile for an extra yard or two at the contact. And that's what we're looking for. Any given run, I want to protect the rock, and I want to get vertical and get as many yards of the contact as possible. Okay, and then this last drill I'll cover as far as ball security. So the Zeke drill, okay, named after Ezekiel Elliott. That's what we're working on those with two hands in traffic, and working on getting skinny, getting yards of the contact. 1 foot hops. Now we're focusing on the inevitable situations where we can't necessarily get two hands involved to protect the football. We just got a helmet directly right here on it. We still got to emphasize. There's no excuse to not have good ball security. And so focusing on maintaining ball security and balance with the defender on the ball side, forces the ball carrier to tuck the elbow, reinforces pad level, and reinforces ball security. So you'll see here, once again, 5-yard drill, not doing too much, not putting too much strain on them. I think the running backs appreciate that. We just do it right, do it light. And so what I just have them do is, if the ball's in their left hand, they're going to take 2 hops off their right foot, and then you're going to burst through the finish cone at the end. So he's doing a good job right there. And so we're just focusing. It's really hard. It looks easy. It was probably deeper into us running this drill, and they've been used to it. But it's pretty easy to punch it out when they first start doing it, because they're just focusing on the foot aspect. Their eyes are down, and it just forces them to have their eyes up once again on contact, and then to really focus on having ball security. No excuses for not tying our feet in with great ball security. And so you'll see it, this couple of examples right here, getting the foot up and down, really tucking that elbow right there, and bursting through the end with our finish. Okay, so that's the drill. And then so I'll show you what I mean by some of these inevitable situations. And I used to just do the drill like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I just did it just for a way to reinforce ball security, but I honestly didn't know that this situation comes up more than I thought, like where there's a guy on the ball side. You got to keep your balance. You want to get more yards, but you still got to protect the football, but you can't cover with two. It's not really a cover with two situation because there's one guy there. And so here's a situation right here, right there. So he's coming. He made that guy miss. There's another guy right there on contact. He doesn't have time to get that second-handed ball. Okay, but he's got to have this. He's still got to tuck the rock. There's a helmet right on the ball. But we want to still keep our balance and get more yards under contact. And he does that right there and has a lot of success on that play. Okay, here's another example. Okay, this is down the field example right here. So I'll speed it up. Okay, just right here, just more emphasis on how we stay vertical in the run game. But right here, here's another situation. I would have liked, the ball was going to the right side. Somebody asked this question, so I want to address it real quick. If we're running a play to the right, I want the ball to be immediately in your right hand. The reason why is, say if this ball stayed front side, that's what all the chaos is coming from your inside hand. And so if these guys are flowing to the ball, I want you to have that opposite hand free for two reasons. Number one, it's a ball security issue if I'm willingly giving these guys a free shot right at the ball with their helmet. The second thing is, let's use our inside hand free to be able to stiff arm, rip through, same foot, same shoulder. And you can't, those are things that you can't do with the ball in your hand. And so that's a big thing for me in a run game. If you always have the ball to the side that you're going to, so that you can keep that inside hand free. So here, the ball should, I mean, it just ended up going off the backside, so I understand why he got it in the right hand. Can't really switch it because it's got to run right in, right on his arm right here. And so he does a great job. There it is. Just like I was just standing there punching at the ball in that drill, he's punching at it right here, desperation. And we not only protect the ball, we fight and get more yards, and we keep the ball protected in the meantime. And then one more situation right here. Okay, here's a different scenario. So we're here. That guy comes off the tight end's block, punching at the ball. Okay, you see how he hugs that thing tight to his body, but we're still moving forward and getting yards at the contact. And so those are all different, few different scenarios. Here's, I think this is the last one right here. I'll just show it just so we can see it here. But right there, use a stiff arm. Okay, and this is why you need to have that ball to the side that you're going to, so that you can use that stiff arm right there in that situation. And now here that guy shows up right on the ball. He does a great job hugging that thing tight to his body. And just once again, from the coach's standpoint, I shouldn't be able to see that football from behind, from the butt copy, if you're hugging it in the right way. Okay, so those are just a few ball security things that not everybody that I know does, that I feel like could have provided some value. I know there were some ball security questions when I tweeted out, what guys wanted to know. I really hope you guys got something out of this. I try to give you just not overwhelm you with a bunch of information, but just kind of some nuggets that I believe in as a coach. With all this being said, as a coach, there's the old adage, there's a million ways to skin a cat. I firmly believe that, I really do believe that it honestly doesn't matter with the exact coaching points that you give, as long as that you can provide a why for the coaching point to the players, and do that willingly all the time. They always hear me give the why, but also to have conviction with the coaching point and double down on it daily. Don't give them a million coaching points so that they're just trying to figure out what you're talking about. So I want every day they're going to hear the same things. Hey, press the vertical seam. Hug the vertical seam, press the heels, stay square. Those are buzzwords that they're going to hear daily. It's not every day. I'm not coming with a different coaching point for how to verbalize press the heels. And I think just the muscle memory and the repetitiveness of that creates a mindset and an understanding in the room, and it paints a picture for what you're trying to get accomplished. It leaves out the gray area. You can double down on it daily in the film room when you're standing behind watching another person take a rep and all those things. And that's just what I believe in. But if you have confidence in any of these coaching points, as long as you're confident and there's a rhyme and a reason behind it that you can verbalize to the players, I think you're going to be in a good position as a coach. And that's just kind of what I've always believed in. Do we have any questions, Justin?
Yeah, we got a few. So I know a few people were asking in regards to possibly obtaining if you'd be able to share that template that you're using before, that PowerPoint that you're using. Some of the sheets or whatever, the pages they couldn't really see.
Yep. Yeah. If just reach out to me and I can send it. I can send the cut ups as well as that presentation via Dropbox. So if you don't have a Dropbox, just make a free one and then just shoot me your information. And I'll send you a Dropbox I'll send it to your email and you'll be able to open it up. Done that. I'll probably send all of this stuff. I'll probably send it out to seriously like 75 coaches this year, this offseason. I'm willing to do that, man. This is all of our information. Like, this isn't mine. Most of this stuff I got from other people. Like I said, Caleb, he got me the study notes, but I just added my own twist to them to make them my own. And so I'm not the guy who thinks like, oh, well, I'm gonna hold these coaching points to myself so that I can be different than everybody. Like, we're all in this thing together, man. And we're all coaching the same stuff, but just in a different way. And so if it can provide value, always feel free to reach out and I can get it to you.
For sure. Here's a few questions, Coach. Do you know the offensive line calls, and do you feel that's important for a running back coach?
For the coach, yes. I think it's important to know. Like last year, we would have a couple wrinkles, like on the backside of on Y. If we run a Y zone, we might tug the backside. Where the guard kicks out on the 4-eye and the tackle wraps around it. I like knowing those things, and some of those things are valuable to tell your running backs. I don't tell them every single thing, only the things that are gonna help them be a step quicker. You know what I mean? So if we're running like a tight end insert play or something like that, I could say like, hey, if you see a 3 technique right here, you know the ball's gonna probably go in the A gap or whatever it may be like. But I try not to overcoach things that aren't absolutes as a running backs coach. And so I don't know if that answers the question. I like knowing it just because I mean, this is what we get paid for. Like, I love learning football, learning all the different, schemes up front so I can have a deeper understanding as a coach. And then I'll let the guys know what they need to know. If it's a coaching point that doesn't mean anything to the scheme, or as far as our read or anything, I won't say it because I don't want them thinking about what they do on the backside when I've been trying to freaking preach for 2 weeks just to keep them on the front side. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And so that's kind of my philosophy on that.
Cool. So you have a running back that has 2 or 3 fumbles in a game or two. What advice do you give him to bring him back into the game, confidence, etc.?
So I think it's just you got to know your guy. Like, you got to know each of your players, coach the way you got to coach them individually. So I've had some guys where you can go get them right now. Like, come on, protect the ball. Like, you know better than that. Like, you can get on them real good and all of that. There's other dudes that you got to just let them chill. Like, almost wait until the whole drive. Then the defense has been out there for 8 plays, and then they on a 9th play walk over like, hey, keep your head up, man. We just got to protect the rock, And so I think a lot of that comes with the way I coach, with ball security being such a huge emphasis and just a core quality that you got to have in my room, and we take pride in. I think it helps that they kind of have their own. They're already going to be more mad at themselves than I am. I'm going to be really when I get there. I mean, we're all going to be mad, right? But it's not like they just put the ball on the ground and go over there and start laughing and think, well, it's not that big of a deal. Like, it's going to hurt them, because they know the standard that I have for them for that, and they know how much, because I preach how much it can hurt our chances to have success in a game. So I'm still going to address it, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna just tell them too, like, hey, I'm gonna get you going back in there, but dude, you can't be just putting the ball on the ground. So knock on wood, I've never had a guy put multiple on the ground in one game, and really, I don't think I've ever had a guy put multiple on the ground in one season, to be honest, that I can think of. And so I've been blessed, but that goes back to the culture that you said. You don't have, it's a lot more work on the front end, but you don't have to deal with some of those things that come up on the back end. And like number 5, he was the guy for us last year at BYU. His ball security wasn't great when he first got there, but I emphasized it with him, and I told him, like, dude, we need you on the field. And the worst thing that can happen is you put the ball on the ground, and then I'm looking over at these other guys, and they're like, so you're gonna treat him different, than us, if we put the ball on the ground. And so I just really emphasize those things daily with those guys and let them know the importance. And it's the way I coach. I've been blessed, right? So the type of guys that I've been coaching, it usually means more to them than most, when they put the ball on the ground. they're going to be pretty down on themselves. And so I need to gauge the way to approach that situation with each individual.
For sure. Any recruiting advice for a young coach looking to close a deal on a recruit and sell his school?
I think it's about just being genuine in general. Like from day one, when you start with a kid, like developing a genuine relationship with them. Try to get to know the parents if that's a possibility. Try to, just try to know them deeper than just like, hey, how was your weekend? Hey, you look at our weight room. Like those type of things, they're good, but everybody's saying that. Like try to figure out what's gonna give you an edge, with that kid. Just with whether you work your relationship, you talk, the coach. I think that's important. Just the key in the whole thing is just having genuine relationships with everybody in the recruiting that can affect recruiting. Like high school coach, like I want to have if a high school coach follows me on Twitter and reaches out, I'm gonna follow up with him. Like he could be the recruiting coordinator and the JV offensive coordinator, but those, just having a relationship with those guys and cordial, and being, just being normal to those guys. That you never know, that might be the one relationship that is close to that kid, and that might be the difference. You would think that the OC or the head coach would be the closest, but sometimes it's those guys on the staff, like, the guy that just graduated from college that they put down on the freshman team, that might be their mentor or whatever. So I think just developing genuine relationship with people, whether it be everybody on the coaching staff, guys, other coaches in the area that can give you feedback, trying to get to know their parents, getting to know them, just people that are going to make a difference in their decision making, and not doing it only because of that. Like I'll say, like I've developed relationships with high school coaches years that they would tell me like, Coach, why are you even stop by my school? Like we haven't had a D1 dude in 5-6 years. Like why do you even stop by? And just developing genuine relationships, not so that they can do something for you, but just to show like, man, I'm in this thing for the long haul. Like you're gonna be coaching, I'm gonna be coaching. We're trying to help. We're all trying to get these kids to college. Obviously we want them to come play for us to help our team, but we're really in this thing together. And I think just the more genuine you can be with any type of relationship from the top to the bottom, I think that helps. That could be the difference between you getting a kid and not.
I agree 100% there. If play is tight zone, if play is tight zone right and you're running into the three with a shade backside, which lineman do you read?
We're always going to read the play side. So if it's an even front, we're going to read the first thing outside the center to the play side. If we were a little bit like so we were like I said, the near leg of the center, the play side leg of the center, or really the backside leg of the center was our read. So it's backwards when you run a tight zone though. So let me take that back. If we're running tight zone right, they're in the over front. So the threes to the right, there's a shade to our side. We're reading the shade on that. We're reading the backside, the first thing to our side, if that makes sense. However you want to verbalize it. I always say, I don't say backside with my running backs when we run tight zone. I say you want to read the first D lineman to your side if you're in a over front, because I don't want them thinking front side where the ball should go to the front side, the ball shouldn't go to the back side. I'll term it that way. You want to read the first defensive lineman to your side in an even front. Our front, you're going to read the nose, and I'll tell you where to go.
What advice would you have for somebody looking to achieve their dream job?
I tell this. My brother's a coach too. He actually just got to. He's been a high school coach the last 2 years down in Houston, and he just got the Ball State as a GA. And I tell this to him, somebody that I care deeply about, or just coach anybody that asks me. You got to be present in your current situation. That's the quickest way to get to where you want to get to. Is not selling this current situation short because you're thinking about, hey, how can I get to this next step? And I always use a biblical analogy, the story of King David. That's my core, my foundation is is my faith. And so the thing that I put it in King David's perspective, if you know anything about his story, he started off as a shepherd, and he was actually anointed to be the king. He knew he was going to be a king even when he was a shepherd. That didn't make it. He didn't just sit back and stop taking pride in being a great shepherd. He didn't go, in the house and kick his feet up and just wait 15 years until it was his opportunity to be a king. He freaking grinded and worked his butt off, even when he knew that his dream job was coming at some point. And so he was the best shepherd to ever do it. You know what I mean? Like the lowliest job for a male back in the biblical times was like a shepherd. Like that's like worse than a GA. Like that's like worse than a volunteer coach. Like the shepherd, people just shut shepherds back then. And so he took pride in it though. He was like, shoot, if that's my current situation, I'm gonna be the best shepherd ever. And I'm gonna wait for that promotion. He went from being a shepherd to slaying Goliath, had that monumental moment. Him making the most of that opportunity provided him an opportunity to be the leader of the army, be the best warrior to ever do it in his time. And so he excelled in everything that he did because he was present in those situations. And so once again, if you know the story, he went through that 15-year progression to becoming a king. And even in his, like, we don't know if we're ever going to get to our dream job as coaches. Like, we were hopeful for it. This guy knew that he was going to be a king, and he still took pride in his responsibilities, and God continued to give him more and more on his plate. And I just think that's what we're called to do in our profession as well. Like when I was at Rice, I wanted to be the best running backs coach they ever seen at Rice. And that was not just because for personal accolades, that's just the approach that I took. Or even when I was a GA, I wanted to be the best GA I could be. And then I got promoted, and then I went to BYU. Man, it's a great opportunity for me. When I was at Rice, I would pray for this opportunity at BYU. And so at BYU, I tried to make the most of that opportunity. I was able to do that. I worked hard, did what I was supposed to do, checked that box, and then another opportunity now I'm at Arizona, presented itself. And so I think that's how you got to approach it, man. And we don't know, like we don't have it. Like even David, he didn't know it was going to be 15 years. He just knew that it wasn't right now that he was going to be king. And so he just kept working towards that and put his head down, and then he wasn't sitting here looking like, oh, how is this dude the freaking king right now? And I know I could be better than him, and like feeling sorry for himself. You know what? I ain't even gonna work hard as a warrior now because the king, like this dude, man, I ain't never gonna be a king. He didn't have that mindset. He just put his head down and freaking just went to work, and that's why he got to where he was.
That's it right there, man. One more, Coach. It's more. Have you ever taught your backs to read the backside backer versus reading the down lineman on your tight zone?
No, and because to me it doesn't make sense to read a second level, but then still have to address the first level at the same time. To me, that's backwards. Like, I think you need to address what's in front of you first and then let the second level sort out. The other reason I coach that way is because I use that coaching point, the vertical seam. And so really the linebackers don't mean anything to us once you get that mindset. We're just looking for that block to take place the way that we're expecting it to. So the other reason I like it is, to me, if you're reading a linebacker, you got a better chance of them guys just taking the ball and bouncing it and not pressing the heels and forcing that linebacker to really make a decision, and also allow our alignment to work the double team up to the back. And so to me, you got to address the first level first. Because that's going to help you keep the emphasis on pressing the heels and creating the timing needed to have success on that play. I just personally don't believe in reading second level on zone. I'm not saying that if you might know a way to coach it and get it to where it's 100% that will make the read right. To me, it's hard for me to think of a freshman running back coming in, me allowing him to do that, and then not taking me a whole 2 years just to get this guy to learn how to press the heels. And so that's why I personally believe in that philosophy when it comes to any type of zone, type of scheme.
Awesome. Coach, do you want to share your contact information, whether Twitter, email?
Yeah. Follow me on Twitter, and I can get you. Well, I'll tell you my email. Follow me on Twitter. It's Coach _ Steward, STEWARD as in dog. You can find me on Twitter and reach out to me. I'll follow back. And then also my email is Steward, Steward, the letter A, at email.arizona.edu. It's Steward A at email.arizona.edu.
Awesome, man. All right, Coach, I just tweeted out that that's the way to cap off a good day at Clinic Talks, man. You dropped some major gems in this one, man. I appreciate that. That was tremendous, man. Seriously, that was awesome. That was awesome. I appreciate. Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I appreciate you coming on, and you know, once again, to all the coaches that took the time out to sit in on all these talks today. You know, much respect to y'all, and you know, Coach alluded to it before, and we've been talking about it since last week. But it's a time where, you know, we're looking to just do this thing together, man, lean on each other and continue to build. And I think that's most important. So everybody's doing it. It's reflecting in the fact that we're getting 60, 70, 80, 100 people, 110 people, 200 people in these clinic talks, man. And it's awesome. It's awesome. So just want to give a shout out to all the coaches, not only the ones presenting, but the ones coming in to learn and continue to grow. So absolutely. Coach, appreciate it, man. That was awesome.
All right, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, y'all have a good night. We're back at it tomorrow morning. We got a few sessions tomorrow.